Ready to create some LinkedIn content? Then let's get started. Now, when I see people creating LinkedIn content, a lot of people struggle understanding how to actually write a post. So today I'm going to give you a very simple structure for a very well-performing content type that has a proven track record of really attracting a lot of views and a lot of engagement, comments, likes, shares, and so on. And I like to call it this "I have done the work for you" post. And the way this works is you put in some effort, spending some time on either compiling information that are all over the place and it's just like a pain to collect them and group them and organize them, or that require a certain amount of time to actually compile them, like to do the math, to do some comparison, to run some experiments. And all of those kind of posts have one thing in common. They require work, they require effort. You have to do some research, you have to do some experiments, you have to analyze the results of your experiments. And if you actually come to some really good conclusion based on this research or based on those experiments and the results of them, it's really valuable, because what you're essentially doing is you're investing your time so your reader can save their time. So it's kind of like a shortcut. Instead of them having to sit down and having to do 6 months of research or 6 months of experiments and see which one is working, they can kind of use your results as a benchmark, as a first indicator to see, hey, would it be worth it trying that for themselves? Or is there maybe it's a rumor and they just want to see is does that actually work? They just need some proof of concept in order for them to feel confident enough to try something. And it also demonstrates to them, if you're looking for clients, it demonstrates to them who you are, what is your mindset, how do you work, and it's really valuable. Because a lot of times when you're meeting someone, you don't really know who they are, but you can get a pretty good feeling for who someone is if you actually see them doing some work. That's really it's essentially working with someone in the same company. And after a year of working with someone, you will know oh, this person is really hardworking, this person is really smart, this person takes a little bit more time, but they do really solid work. So you kind of get a really good feeling about which task would you give to which person when you have when you have worked with them. And on LinkedIn, we're not doing 24/7 live streaming where you do the work, but you can present your method and the way you have tackled a certain problem, the way you are thinking how to solve a certain problem, and you can show how did you set this up, what steps did you take, and what results did you get. And it's basically the shortcut version of working with someone over a pretty long time. So it's a really cool way to actually attract new clients, because when they see that you are really in alignment with the way you do your work, you're diligent, hardworking, you have a smart way of thinking how to solve problems, it will make them more confident and kind of wanting to work with you. So how does this content type actually work? So let me give you some examples, and I'm going to present those to you in form of a hook. So it's just going to be the first line, and you're going to see if you're interested or not. Of course, that really depends on what business are you doing, what stage are you in. But just to give you some examples, I analyzed 100 successful startup pitch decks so you don't have to. Here's what works. So let's say you are someone who is working with startups, and maybe you're even a PowerPoint designer and you're developing startup decks for startups. So what you could have done, you could have downloaded all the well-known startup decks of the big companies who made it. Say you have the Facebook startup deck, the Uber startup deck, all the different companies, and you can look if you can find certain patterns in them. That will require obviously a lot of work, because some startup decks have a couple of hundred slides, even though they shouldn't have to. Just think about 10, 20 slides should be enough. But you're spending the time going through the startup decks, and you're going to analyze them from different angles. Maybe you're looking at design, maybe you're looking at colors, maybe you're looking if they're using pictures and images. Maybe you're looking at like how many words per slide did they put in. Maybe the number of slides might be an indicator to determine if the deck was successful or not. Maybe you're looking at the team section that they put in pictures. What kind of information did they highlight about the founders? Now, there is a million different ways how you can analyze pitch decks, but if you actually go there and you find like the top 100 unicorn companies, you download all of their slides. Let's say each slide deck has about 50 pages of slides. So you have 100 times 50 pages, means you have analyzed 5,000 PowerPoint slides, and you actually categorize them in different categories, and you rated them. Of course, that's going to be your unique perspective. Like someone else might analyze the same decks and come to different conclusions, but it still takes a lot of time and dedication to actually put in this kind of effort and then giving people like the TLDR version of that. That's really valuable. Not everyone has time to analyze 5,000 slides. So if you are a startup founder, you would definitely want to know the results of looking at 5,000 slides, because your job is you want to get funding, you want to get your startup company running. You don't want to spend the time like analyzing 5,000 slides, and a year later you're going to say, wow, now I'm finally ready to create my PowerPoint slide deck and reach out. By that time, you already lost like a year that you could have already like had like your first prototype ready, could have had your first business angel investor meeting ready. So it's really important to save time and to not to do too many experiments. Of course, you're still going to do some experiments. Not everything that you, even if it worked for someone else, might not perfectly fit for you. So you still have to do some learning, but it will save you a lot of time by actually finding out like what are the most common types that actually do work in general. So it's a good startup point that really saves you time getting a good first effort out for your startup deck. Or here's another one. I analyzed the top 50 productivity apps for the last 6 months. Here are the 3 ones worth keeping or worth using. Now, again, a lot of people struggle with productivity. They're getting distracted, and there is just like too many apps at the moment. Like you cannot really seriously go through the learning curve of learning like one app and figure out like 3 months later, it's not really working. And then like try another app, and by the time you have tested all 50 apps and try to implement them in your workflow, in your business, by the time like you already lost like 80% of your productivity because you're not doing anything else except testing apps. So if someone else has already done the work of actually like trying out different productivity apps and seeing like which ones work really well, which ones have like the best features, which one has the best price value for in terms of app. Maybe you're looking for a one-off price, or you definitely don't have a subscription. So having some kind of ideas in terms of like how do they compare against each other? Would paying for a more expensive subscription be worth it if you're getting like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times more features? Which of the features are actually like worth it in your opinion? Like sometimes a feature sounds really cool on the sales page, but in practice it might not be actually that practical in real life. Of course, this would work really well for someone teaching productivity workshops in companies, or someone running a productivity magazine or newsletter. But it's also like a very generic topic that often works for different people in different industries. And it's a really cool idea. Again, you're spending the time testing out the different tools, and because you're doing maybe testing tools like on a more regular basis, you don't need to work with a tool for 3 months in order to get the results. But like for the value comes for like what would be the investment for the reader? What would they have to put in order to get the same results? And if they don't test tools on a daily basis, they might have to test the tool like for a couple of weeks. They might have a much longer learning curve. It might take them 3 weeks to get a hold of like a new concept. But if you do this on a regular basis, it might be much faster. So it might be like a week effort for you to test 50 productivity tools, but it might be worth like 3 years for like the average reader to test the same amount of tools and come to the same depth of conclusions. So again, you're doing the work, And that saves the other person a lot of time and effort. And it's really valuable because whenever someone saves you time or money, you immediately become valuable to them. And that's one of this kind of post type, because of it's so valuable, you often get a ton of engagement, people liking it, people commenting on it, thanking you, sharing this, reposting this to their company page, to their network. And it's a really cool way to not only grow your audience with relevant people who are interested in exactly that kind of topic, but it's also kind of really valuable to demonstrate your own capabilities, where you demonstrate how did you analyze those tools. And there is a lot of things to be learned from that, like how you approaching a topic, how did you get to the results, like how did you do your research, how did you set up your experiments, how long and dedicated were you working on this. Of course, you could say, hey, I tested this tool for 5 minutes. But if you actually show it, you actually tested it over a period of 6 months, and you compared 3 different tools in each category, and you had 10 different categories. And then you can really show, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. You have really, you really thought this through. It made a lot of sense how you approaching the solution. That actually is a really cool way to get other people to want to work with you if they connect and click with the way how you are solving problems, because that's all business is. It's solving problems. So if you find someone who can solve problems in an efficient way, and you feel like this person, the way they're thinking, they should be able to solve my problem, which is related but different, but I can sense if they were following a similar approach, they should probably come to the solution. That would take me way too much time. It's a really cool way to attract new customers and clients on LinkedIn. Now, if you want to get more videos like this, I would really appreciate if you could give this video a like. It's completely free and really helps out the algorithm to get my videos discovered by more people. Of course, I would be really glad if you leave me a comment. Let me know what you like the most and what kind of videos you want me to make next. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you want to re-dive into how to create effective LinkedIn content, you can also check out my free LinkedIn hashtag guide. I put the link down in the pinned comment and into the description. And of course, you can also visit my LinkedIn Accelerator program, my complete A to Z system on how to become a thought leader on LinkedIn by creating daily LinkedIn posts. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.